Hi, I'm Shislan DK and I am making this individual video project because it is a requirement for my computer security course ICS 382 section 50 taught by Professor Faisal Kaleem, and this is a course which is part of my computer science major and required course. So in this individual video project, we will cover a variety of topics, but I will focus mostly and actually entirely on vulnerability assessment versus penetration testing. So in the following few slides, we will cover both vulnerability assessment as well as penetration testing. And we'll also look at a couple of tools and examples. Now, I made these couple of slides so that I am constricted within the topic of what I would like to speak of and do not want to deviate very much by providing lots of details as I look forward to making future smaller modules or chunks of topics covered in this video. Um, it was intended to cover a 15 minutes time frame, but because of what we will talk about, we will cover a lot more. So before we proceed, I want to give you some background about hacking. What is hacking? It's basically taking advantage of a system's vulnerabilities and exploiting such by gaining access into the system and modifying or altering its software. With different intentions from those the system owner had from the time of creation. I will be reading off a lot of these slides before we dive into the hands-on. There are 5 main steps involved in the hacking process: footprinting, scanning and vulnerability assessment, enumeration, exploitation, or the actual attack, which is penetration testing, and then the last one, which is post-attack activities. So I have covered these in the past in class discussion posts, but for the sake of time and the sake of this video, um, I just still want to stay and remain constricted within the margins of the topics that I'd like to talk about. I will not go into details to talk about footprinting or scanning and vulnerability. Actually, scanning and vulnerability, this is what we'll base our focus on. I will not go into details about talking about enumeration, and I will not talk very much about post-attack activities, as those are very clear what the hacker does after, and then exploitation. I will cover these. So exploitation and scanning and vulnerability assessment. So, not to make the slides very boring before we jump into actions, I still intend to continue with this background. Here on these slides, we look at the difference between a black hat and a white hat. Basically, what differentiates a white hat from a black hat is that the white hat hackers, they always obtain written permission, and they perform and obey or maintain complete transparency. Basically, their findings, the vulnerabilities, the we, the backdoors and all of that defined in the system, they have to be transparent, provide that information to their clients who are the targets. Um, Professional accountability as well, because you make a name of yourself if you are an excellent, you maintain professionalism in this aspect. And black hat hackers do these steps that we talked about, the 5 steps in the previous slides. They carry them out in a very concealed manner, so they do not want to be detected. On the other hand, the ethical hackers, which is another name for white hat hackers, they add an additional step at the beginning of these 5 steps, okay, in order for them to be able to proceed with what they have to do. So they will obtain written permission, authorization to break into the system and exploit it. So let's jump into vulnerability assessment, which is our first main topic. So vulnerability assessment, actually it should say scanning and vulnerability assessment, because scanning is also it goes hand in hand with vulnerability assessment. When we talk about vulnerability assessment, what does that mean? What does it entail? What does scanning entail? And what kind of tools are we going to look at while we talk about these? So, to be successful in scanning a target, a network for exploitation, and looking at the vulnerabilities, the open doors, back doors that are available in the system, okay, in order to be successful in doing that, we have to use the right type of tools to map the network. And also, we should be able to identify any vulnerabilities that could open a window for future attack. Now, I'm going to be moving forward here, discussing or assuming steps that a white hat hacker does, not a black hat hacker. Now, in this next slide, what we see here, oops, go back. In this next slide, what we see here is basically a pool of tools that are open source vulnerability assessment tools. I will cover Open VAS. A lot of these other tools, you can actually Google them and see how they are used, what they are used to perform, what kind of function they are used to perform. I would also look at the Metasploit framework. Now we shall be using Kali Linux and as our test platform, and it comes with a very rich uh, resource of tools for penetration testing. We'll also look at Metasploitable, because when you want to perform penetration testing, you actually need to have targets, amongst which could be compromised operating systems. You can download those. So Metasploit has done a good job of providing such platforms so you can learn and practice on them. Um, in the next slide, I want to again emphasize that it will mainly talk about scanning and vulnerability assessment as the first part, and then later on we'll talk about penetration testing, but all we will do the hands-on in our virtual environment. So I'm using VirtualBox. Nmap and its graphical user interface, which is called ZenMap, is at the top of the list of most popular tools for performing an initial IP host discovery. So basically, before you embark on hacking or penetrating a target, you have to do some feasibility studies. You have to do some research. You have to study your target. You have to, and you'll be surprised a lot of things you can do. Like when you're in the footprinting process, this first process here. Um, there's several tools that you can actually use to do that footprinting. So I would like to look at some data that I had here, some notes. Okay, yeah, so I have a couple of notes here, so it can give you some information. So what I mentioned, what I was trying to get someone understand or viewers understand about footprinting is basically getting a target's external and internal links which provide rich information like company mission, vision, history, products and services they offer. And those internal links, using internal links, a hacker can traverse through the firewall of the company and actually obtain critical information critical to the business functioning. No, departments inside the structure of the organization. And a few tools that are used to do that, we have tools like Netcraft or Link Extractor and many more. There are lots of them. And for enumeration, because I'm gonna cover scanning and vulnerability. For enumeration, what it aims at doing is, um, obtaining ports and services, user accounts, processes, and so on. There are also a myriad of tools that are used to achieve this purpose, like super scan, IP tools, soft perfect network scanner, CompSec, and enumerate system using default password. You can actually get that um, on a URL that I can post at the bottom of the video once it's published. And then exploitation, which is the second thing we will cover, is the actual attack. And then for post activities, it's pretty much clear here. You cover your tracks and so on and so forth, basically. All right. So let's go back to these tools. Oops. It's cover the notes. Bring that down. Okay. Mm. So, excuse me. So open VAS, I'll cover that, and the Metasploit framework, I'll cover them. So I'll rush through the rest of the slides so that we can actually get into action here. But again, I'll be using a virtual environment, which is VirtualBox, and Nmap and ZenMap when I will show my Kali distro. And when we'll be talking about Kali, I will not go through the whole 9 yard, installing and all that, but I will touch the main steps that are required while setting up your distribution of Kali. And vulnerability assessment. So two parts. Again, the first part will be divided into two halves. So one will be the scanning. We'll do scanning around, studying our targets, trying to identify open doors and all that. And then the second have will be vulnerability assessment using OpenVAS. And via OpenVAS, we can assess Linux, Windows, and network infrastructure, and even perform network discovery of devices, operating systems, applications, databases, and other services running on those devices. We can also identify vulnerabilities or bugs, and it will flag those out. Now, these two have to work hand in hand, these two, before you can actually attempt to go to the third phase. So again, footprinting, scanning and vulnerability assessment, enumeration, exploitation, and then covering your tracks. Those are the 5 steps. I hope I named 5. So for our demo, you can download VirtualBox right here, virtualbox.org. Start downloading. You can also create your virtual machine. After creating a virtual machine, you can load the operating system that you would like to use. On my virtual machine, in order for me to set up my lab pen testing environment, I went to Offensive Security. They actually maintain a very, very good package of Kali Linux as a virtual machine ready to go. You just need to import it as an appliance into your virtual box. So I will show you a few things on that. And when you power up Kali Linux, usually the username comes with as root and the password Tor. Okay, and the next on the agenda will be the actual hacking or penetration testing. So for us to establish a pen testing lab, we have to set up a platform so that we may run tests from, and also set up a series of target systems to test, as I mentioned earlier. So I'll be using Kali Linux, and which is an excellent choice for a platform of many, as a platform for many pen testers. And I'll also be using Metasploit. So it was created in 2003 using Perl by A.G. Moore, and then later on in 2007 it was completely rewritten in Ruby, and then since then it's been actually enhanced and maintained, by Rapid7. They purchased it, so it's now the de facto exploit development framework, part of Kali Linux. It's actually in Kali Linux. It comes in Kali Linux. One thing I forgot to mention is OpenVAS does not actually come with installed with Kali Linux, and I will show you how to install that. Okay, and that we'll go to hands-on, and yeah, so let's go to hands-on. Oops. Let's go to, let's do this. Let's open this. I have my Kali Linux up and running. Now I need to enter the username, which was root. Hit enter, and then password, which was Tor. And what I did here, I'll show you real quick. When I meant that you could download this from Offensive Securities, I think I have a quick link on that, and I can really share quick right here. Let's do this. taking its time, not being very considerate of my patients. Okay, so here you have I downloaded Kali Linux as a virtual image, and this site, if it does come up, so you can actually either a VMware image or a VirtualBox. Okay, so that is that, and it's just a sec. It's pretty slow. So basically here you can download uh, based on what your needs, what needs you want. You can come to this site and explore, and then you can go ahead and download. You can also watch some tutorials here as well. Okay, and VirtualBox. Internet connection is a little slow. Have ice popping in the freezer. You would hear some noise in the background. Um, so you have VirtualBox here. You can also download that here. So what I meant by importing as an appliance, if you download the over file, which is ready to go, all you can just do is come here and import that as an appliance. See, I already have these. If I try to do this again, import a new um, uh, virtual machine, it will take me right to the over right here, and you can see I do have my Kali Linux here that I downloaded, and this is the over file. And if you do import that, it's smart enough, VirtualBox is smart enough to fill all of these descriptions for you, and then you can just rename it the way you want, which is what I did by renaming it to Kali Linux here. So I have my Kali Linux instance running, and I don't want to spend much time walk you through the rich tools you have here, but each time if you go to applications, and then you will see tools for information gathering. Dimitri is on top of the list, and I do have actually a couple of notes um, on a couple of these. I do not want to spend much time on these, but I'll just touch a few. So Dimitri means deep magic information gathering tool. It can be used to do whois lookup or a host, identify subdomains, and scan targets, and so on and so forth. You can just key in Dimitri and put, like, for example, yahoo.com, and you see what pops out. It will identify also subdomains that are tied to yahoo.com and so on and so forth. You have also DSENUM. It's an enumeration used to enumerate information for a system, provides name service for a domain, identifies subdomains, provides the associated mail service, and so on and so forth. You also have Maltego that you see here. You have Maltego, which is a popular tool for open source intelligence and forensics. And there are three concepts in Maltego, very useful to understand. There's a concept of the graph, which is the panel on which Multigo will create the diagram showing the information and the relationships, like a spanning tree or whatever, when you're looking at networks. Um, Also, the transform concept, which is an analysis function. It takes an input, for example, a server name, and using an open source intelligence, transforms it into a tree of connected information. And then you have the last concept, which is a machine, which is essential processing engine for running a transform. Um, and we're not going to go deep into that. I just want to cover vulnerability assessment and a couple of others. So if you look right here at vulnerability um, analysis, you will see the Nmap that I talked about. Nmap that I talked about. Nmap has its graphical user interface, which is called ZenMap. So I will walk you through. It takes a lot of time, but and it can slow the computer, but I can just open it and show you later on how it's being used. So before we go to OpenVAS, let's do that then. Let's try Nmap. I clicked on Nmap, and if you don't like to see those tools arranged like that, um, if you don't like to see those tools arranged like that, you can also click on Show Application. You can click on Show Application, and it should show you several applications here. It should show you several applications here and here. So you can take a look and see which application you want to use. So um, back to our terminal. My Zenmap. Let's go back. Taking a while there. Okay. So this is the terminal for Nmap. So question you may be wondering, what does the Nmap actually do? Um, a lot, quite actually. Um, it has a graphical user interface called SendMap. Okay, and it is kind of like a port scanning tool. It quickly identifies hosts and detect what operating system and services are running on them, and all of that without actually any privilege access, basically. So what I want to do is do this. Pasting that. Now, what it is that I just did here is I passed a command which will manually execute a ping. So scan the this dash sn. It initiates a scan on all hosts. Okay, on the on this, you see, it found 255 hosts. So you pass in a subnet, and then you initiate a scan to find ports. And so there is a graphical user interface, a Zenmap, which is better to use. So usually, if you're not sure where an application is, you can you can click on this show. This is what I like to do. I come in here and I just type what is it that I'm searching for, and you see right here I do have Zenmap. Now you can take any, you can take either, um, and you can run the same command that I just ran here in Zenmap. Zenmap is more of a graphical user interface, so um, it's it's easier sometimes to run these things on a graphical user interface. So you see right here, right here. So let's do this again. In this command right here, you see the command here, I can paste the same command, right? And then hit enter. So you see it started, it's in action. What does that do actually? It's searching and it's scanning. So it has tabs here where when the scan is running, it will output data. You see it's still running here, and it will output a list of hosts that it finds right here. You see how many computers it found, and and looking at the services, looking at the host, and this here will tell you the operating systems. And if you go to ports, it didn't find actually any open port, but it has a topology, and you can view through a fisheye. I don't want to go very much detailed into that. Um, and how about we just go back? Don't want to save the graphic. I'm looking at this host alone. It it gives you, you see, it gives you quite a bit of information about which, if you look at this other computer, it gives you information about that as well. If you look at and so on and so forth. Now, if I go ahead and I let's do this. Go back to this and replace this with an uppercase S, and make sure you have that space there. Okay, and hit enter. Now, this overwrites the previous command that was running. Okay, and it actually begins a scene scan, basically a scene scan of the subnet. Um, well, the scene scan, you may be wondering what am I talking about when I say, or what am I referring about when I say a scene scan. A scene scan is a form of TCP scanning, and it's less intrusive on the target or host. So the scanner, Zenmap, can identify open ports without completing a TCP handshake, of course, which might be noticed by the network administrator. So it is kind of sneaky. It will do that and provide you all of that information without actually you having access to the system. So basically, um, so if I click on the uh, first here, and then go to port and host, still scanning. It hasn't found any. So that is as much as I'd like to go. Um, there's a lot you can do um, with this. So you can also there's several commands and there's ways to find all of those commands. There is an O, there's an SV. Um, so just replace the letters in between the commands like I did earlier with the S, the SN, and basically here I can replace this, all of these, with an upper O and a space. This also it consumes a lot of resources. Now, this is an operating system fingerprinting scan that we're performing. So what we're doing here is just to determine which operating system are running on the network host. That's all this is doing. And host details. And we have scans that we performed. So far, we've performed 3 scans. There's a lot of information you can obtain here. And these scans take a lot of time. It takes a lot of time, and it slows down your computer a lot. So I will exit from these. So after you've done your scanning, you've identified, the hosts, the IP addresses, the ports that devices in the organization are running on, and so on and so forth. Once you've done that reconnaissance, once you've done that check, you can now move forward to. I'm just going to close this and close anyway, and just exit out of this scan. There's a myriad of tools here that Kali Linux provides you with. There's a lot, and you can do a lot. Um, and so the next thing we'd like to do is I'm gonna open again. I should have that as my favorite, but for some reason my my terminal keeps hiding from me. Okay, so um, I did an install of this distro all night, so to prepare for this basically. So a lot of stuff that I have been working with is moved a little bit. Let's look at how we would actually use OpenVAS for the second part. If you recall in our slide, let's go back. I mentioned that these two work hand in hand. Um, the Nmap, which has graphical user interface, the Nmap that we just used to scan network around, it works hand in hand with OpenVAS. Okay, so so uh, together basically is a scanning and vulnerability assessment. So if we go to the terminal, do have a few notes that I have here for you. Um, I think you did see another tool, Nikto, which was in the slide. Um, didn't talk very much about that either. Nikto right here. Um, Nikto, what it does, it IDs which vulnerabilities exist in the underlying web server. You run Nikto against Metasploitable. Okay. So, for example, this is a Metrostate server, And if I run Nicto on these, um, you can see what it does. Just get a server name, and then a Nicto you can find again. If you do not know, you can search it that way. But Nicto is basically where's Nicto vulnerability analysis right here. So Nicto oops, vulnerability analysis. Go down to Nicto. I can open that and then just copy this command and paste it here. I did not intend to go into these details because there's a lot we need to do, but you see um, yeah, it's taking its time. You see all the information that Nicto has provided me here. It's giving me uh, the IP address of my college, my university, Metrostate. It's giving me the port side and what type of server they're running. Um, uh, and again, this is information. This is intended for learning purpose. So I should have stated a disclaimer at the beginning of the video, but hey, I will still state it right now. This video that I'm presenting here, it's solely intended for educational purposes. I am by no means responsible for any actions taken by whosoever is viewing this video. So I'm just gonna close Nicto and let's go and start working on OpenVAS. So what is OpenVAS? We have talked about that, and is Open Vulnerability Assessment System is a framework of several services and tools offering a comprehensive and powerful vulnerability scanning and vulnerability management solution. All the products are free and most components are licensed under the GNU General Public License. So what it is, you see, on the client there's the client and the target end. Okay, so on the client end we have the terminal for OpenVAS, and we also have the web. It's also a server, a green bone security system, and this helps us to access and log in to be able to on the server's end to be able to perform certain tasks, and these all will run on the client's machine. And there's a lot of services. It's very rich. It uses it has an open VAS manager, which uses the open manager protocol. I believe it feeds off. It saves config information, data information, and retrieves data information from a database. When I was installing my Kali Linux distribution uh, last night, it required me to actually also allow for Reddit to be installed. Um, I think, um, not MySQL, not off the top of my head, I don't remember. But we can quickly take a look at the architecture, and I don't want to go deep into that, um, but it's good to explore. It's good to explore. Go here, just say open. Computer is a little slow. If I can I can type open. Okay. Okay. Just to save time, I will close that, but you can look at the architecture online. I have so many windows open and there's a lot going on in the background. So yes, and I'm consuming a lot of resources here. So how do we access right here? You can go to this link here, www.openvise.org/about.html, or you can just go to .org and then you can look at the architecture. You can see, you get a picture of what it does. And what I wanted to mention is this NVT here. Um, um, what the NVT, um, don't recall the N off the top of my head, uh, but it's vulnerability testing. Uh, so basically, it uses the government databases, public databases. You're gonna hear about the NVD, CVE also, and all those acronyms. Common vulnerability exposure, the CVE, and uh, the NVD, which is a database for network vulnerabilities. Yes, this one is network vulnerability testings, NVT. I knew that. So it gets updated. You'll see if you are installing your Kali Linux distro, sometimes it's requiring you, for example, not the distro actually, when we're doing an update like the steps we have down here. I have already performed these steps, so excuse me. In order for you to be able to get these up to date, you have to, because it doesn't come with OpenVAS. I had to install these early this morning, so that's why, how come you see right now in my vulnerability analysis tools I do have OpenVAS instances here. It does not come with OpenVAS. So what you have to do is follow these steps. You type to install the OpenVAS. You get updates and you install the OpenVAS, and then it takes a while. It took 3 hours for me to get this running, and I'm not sure, maybe because of my system. And then um, you you pass in this command, which is going to download the network vulnerability test database from the internet, and it will take a while as well. And username and password will be given to you when it's done. It will be very long and ugly, which you can never remember. So you pass in this command to set up a new password and new username and password. Once you pass that, you also issue a sync command to keep the OpenVAS up to date by typing this into the terminal and hit enter. Now, once you have done all of those, what you can do now is just to start OpenVAS. Now OpenVAS is ready and waiting for us to access it. Now you have to access OpenVAS. Again, remember the architecture that I just showed you over here. The client, this is what we just did. We just started OpenVAS from the terminal, but then now we need to go on the web server to be able to access that. And this is why we're trying to get these passwords set up. So once we have run this, we go to the terminal and then we will type this. Now, to go there, this little guy, where is that little guy? Again, I like to search rather than is my ice weasel. For me, as such is a lot. Uh, should be. Come on. Okay. It's taking a while, so let's do this. Go here. It's just taking its time, and I just keep clicking. I'm running out of patience, and I can actually close that terminal, and I need to go here in the background, and let's close this. Why don't we? So I'm recording this video. I'm not sure if it's some interference as well with my recorder, um, because it runs just fine. Shouldn't take that long. So I'm going to look for ice weasel. So ice weasel is what will permit us to actually go ahead and access the green bone uh, site. So waiting for ice weasel to turn up. And it's getting quite slow. And I intended to share a second part, um, getting to a mobile phone for penetration testing, but my system, so 52 minutes already. Please give me my eyes with um, in the meantime, while that is taking its time, um, so the ice whistle basically is the interface where we will actually go and access. I did type this earlier and don't know what happened. Ice. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think the machine is I'm not sure what the interference is here, um, but I'm sure we'll get it running. Yeah, we finally have uh, the ice whistle. So on this address bar, I'm gonna type the the link to the IP address we had. It says it's not responding. So what happens if I wait for a bit? And this is what you get sometimes with technology. So why we wait for that? I think hope it comes up. We'll wait. Not sure if it does that again. We'll be forced to. Okay, why don't I? Yeah, let's see. Keep going, keep going. Not particularly sure about what's happening, but it should have been smoother than this. Not sure what's going on my virtual machine. All I need to do is be able to paste this address here and just hit enter. That's all I needed. So I have the steps right here, and this gets us to log into the Greenbone interface. Now, because this is the first time that I got here, so it's just some extra, just trying to make sure that the page is secure. It's not an issue, and don't be scared of this. All you have to do is uh, make it a trusted site. That's all. So I go to I understand the risk and scroll down. Mm, if I can scroll down and then add, click on add exception, and while I'm waiting for that click, just confirm security exception, and that's all. So it does this the first time, um, and once that is done, um, it should take us to the Greenbone side. Now, because of the nature and the slowness I'm experiencing here, once we just waiting for that, see it's going to the Greenbone Security Assistant. Oh, here we are finally. So all you need to do, remember we had created a username and password in an earlier step. All we need to do is type here admin as username, and then again as password admin. I bet you wouldn't experience this when you're trying this on your own because it works just fine. It could be my I downloaded a couple of other softwares for screencasting, and could be a test of those uh, affecting me now. I'm not sure. So admin, and a login, and I have the steps here, right here, and and that's it. Once you're in, yes, I can remember. I can allow that to be remembered. That's fine. Oh, no. Admin, admin. Show where the login failed. Hmm, admin. Admin. Hmm, I'm not particularly sure why it failed, but let's see. Again, um, again, it's failing. Let's see my open. What's going on with my open? The system is a little not on my side at this time. Um, but I hope not to allow it be satisfied with the ounces of frustration I'm showing at this time. So let me try this once more. Again, get my terminal. Click on terminal. And so we will not be able to go through the hack uh, testing that I had planned. But well, let's see if we can make it there. Otherwise, we may as well just do that now. Let's try once more. That won't take long. So let me try once more and start. Did I issue a command? Let's reissue a command for Avast to get the username and password. Once you do that, it should be fine. And a sync, I think it's already in sync, so it shouldn't really matter. It's already in sync. I'm sure. Yeah. Okay. And how about we start again once and we see. Um, we'll give it another try. Because it's through the open vast that we can actually uh, do a lot more of the work. So it's starting the service, and and um, while it's starting, should be running, but failed to find my ice whistle. Ice whistle, come on. Yeah, I'm not able to navigate. Mm, oh, there's a myriad of tools here. You see Wireshark here on the right at the bottom, Sears Panda, NetSniff, and there's just a lot of tools that you can use here. Okay. Yes. So basically, it should be running. Let's do that again. This is taking longer than I had planned for, but the idea, the steps, the steps are right here. That was just the end. If we went through the graphical user interface, the site, it's also a web server, then there's a lot we could do. Um, like, let's see, what was on the agenda here? Okay, the system is acting a little weird, and I have so many windows open, but that's fine. So, um, so basically with the open VAS, what we will do is be able to perform vulnerability assessment of Unix, Windows, and network infrastructures. And also it can actually perform a network discovery of devices, operating systems, and applications, databases, and services running on those devices. So there's a lot to discover. Um, uh, Using that. So why don't we switch on to the attack itself? So right here, what I had planned is actually going through a mobile phone, hacking a mobile phone and exploiting it. Um, uh, there's many ways you can actually be on the same network with the individual, or you can use even a web server. So once you just create, there is a file that you actually have to create, and then you can actually digitally sign it, and you can upload it on a server, and you can send the link to the target. So anyone on their mobile phones, when they click on that link, they would automatically install that, and the Metasploit will kick in. So I have the steps enumerated right here, and let's see if I can just switch on to that. Can I type ifconfig? So this shows me the the IP address on which my Metasploit is running. Um, so um, the next step. So I just decided to, because of the slowness, I think my recordings might be interfering, and the other recorders that I downloaded as a test before using this last one, they may be the software may be interfering somehow, so it's slowing down my system. So for the sake of time, I have decided that we move on so that I can at least cover also this Metasploit, and you can follow the steps here with me as well. So Normally when you install Metasploit, and if you go on Metasploitable, and if you look at my distro, my okay, VirtualBox here, sticking you see I have Metasploitable also here. I imported Metasploitable as an appliance as well, and you can actually get that. Um, I had a link for that here, but online you can find that on the Metasploitable site. And what I can do here is, because I already know the IP address, can we make you larger? Um, something something weird is happening with the system in the background. All on its own. It's doing some fishy stuff I'm not sure about. So I'll be using this IP address. So I'll just follow these commands with me if you want to do this. So I'm going to create an exploit, and then this file has to be sent to a user. I will, for the sake of time, I'll not be able to actually demonstrate on my phone and actually be able to take snapshots of my phone while it's actually laying down somewhere, maybe on the sofa or on the couch or something. But once someone has that file installed, whichever way you would like to send the file, anyone who accesses that file on their mobile phone, then you are listening to their camera through commands, and you can also listen through the mic, and you can actually take snapshots of using their camera and send them to yourself. So first thing we do is, like I said, this is the IP address where my Metasploitable is running. As you see, I already have these steps all around here. Be excuse me, because I did these, I've done these a couple of times. Excuse me. So I'm running out of saliva here. So be patient with me, please. And uh, I can type either this command, or I can go with this other command, because before, what happened is there was the pay MSF payload, which is deprecated, so it's not used anymore. What is right used right now is a MSF Venom. So if you pass this command, and I'll tell you, you can actually see here what the command does. Okay, the details, what each does. So I will try to paste this here. How about you make this big? Oh no, that's bigger than I want. It could be fine too. Uh, Paste this here. Go with paste and hit enter. So what this does, if I go to places, if I go to my home directory, it will create a file, android.apk, in the home directory. This is the file that you send to your target. So can you open up at least? Some reason. Go to home. Okay. Now it's going to home, and while it's looking for the home, let's see what this does. So the P here specifies that, oh, you see the file here has been created. And if you look at the timestamp, the property, if you look at the properties, uh, when it was created, and right, just now, just about now, so it's created just now, and that's the file name. So it's actually saying it's 0 byte. Need to close that. Thank you. You close yourself. Okay. Some reason, um, this is acting all weird. Okay, that's closed. So let's go back to the mobile. So, so the P here, it's specifying. You see, I put a P here, specifying a payload, okay, to be sent, and then the L host, as it insinuates here, is your IP address. So the IP address on which Metasploitable is running. So you can see right here a host, and then the L port, a designated port, whichever port you would like to use, or listen, you want to listen on. From the person's mobile, from the target's mobile phone. And then when you see an R like I have here, R just means is a raw format. And you can actually specify a directory where you want it. If you don't give a directory, like here, you just give the name of the file name .apk. PK is the extension, so it's just going to create it in the home directory. Now here's the file. You can look up online for sake of time. I'm not going to be able to go into details of how you can actually sign this file so that it's a certificate, it's signed, and it's got a certificate's backing, so it's trusted, and then you can upload it on the server. Actually, it can be even uploaded on the server with an HTTPS extension, or the latest uh, HT. I'm not sure off the top of my head, the latest security extension, which has been beefed up upon HTTPS. So you can zip this file, send it in an email as well, or send it to yourself and forward it to someone else. And now, while this has been created, it's a little slow here. It should give us room to enter Metasploit on step 3, because basically all we need to do, it's taking a while, and then it has to come back, and then it has to give us um, some error of some kind, but it's not actually a real error, whichever. Put this up here, and that's fine. It's not really going to be an error. It's just taking a while to go. But it has to come back with some error, and then it tells you like um, no platform found or something, or user something. Of course, you didn't specify. You already passed. You passed Android here. You see, it says no platform was selected. Choosing MSF, blah 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 blah, error, and so on and so forth. It's not actually an error because no platform is another selection criteria. You could select that opposed to selecting the -p Android and so on. So now that we are here again at the root, the next thing we do is just type. We need to open up the MSF console. So I need to paste this here. Paste, please. So again, the system, um, it's a little slow, um, probably based on the numerous downloads I had to do this morning. Okay, all right. So um, I'll walk you through the steps. So once you do that, you're at the root here. We can just type MSF console and then we wait. When it returns with an MSF console, so basically this root Kali will change. What you have here is just an MSF. See, if I code again, paste this here, you can see it's taking an incredibly long amount of time. Um, it's it's quite ridiculous what's going on in the background. So um, all again, hacking is a lot of patience. You do this, you try, and what works, what doesn't work. I've been up all night doing this actually. So since yesterday, at about this time. Um, so when next the console returns, you type in MSF console, and then you hit enter and you wait. And then you type in use motive slash handler. This is to tell, again, you're prepping your Metasploit to listen and to be ready for exploit. Once you type that in, and then again MSF console will be open just like root add Kali here. It's open each time you hit enter, and then you add something onto the terminal, and then it's ready. It comes back again as root add Kali. So once that happens, then you can configure the payload. You can set your payload. You type set payload, you type this, just copy this and you paste, and then you the next thing when it returns, you set again your host where you'll be listening from, and then you set your port. Once you have this ready, you can leave your computer. It will be just running in the background. So you can leave your server or you can leave your virtual machine on. It's running and just waiting. Once the target opens that file, as soon as they open that file, then you will be able to perform a lot of commands to exploit or to either see the messages, read whatever's on the phone, and bypass. You can do a lot of things once that is done. So for the sake of time, I will not be able to go to that extreme to provide you with all those details, and I will return to, if I can exit this, I can exit that, and even exit Kali Linux. I think it'd be better, and can go back to the slide. And right now, I'm sure you're seeing a very dark screen, and yeah. So just to sum up, um, we have talked about a couple of steps, the 5 steps, main steps involved in the hacking process. We have reviewed, we talked a little about the footprinting step, which is the first step. Or the second step, which we talked about, which was about scanning and vulnerability assessment, for which we used Nmap and ZenMap for to scan for open ports, and we also used OpenVAS. We didn't get the opportunity to actually log into the user interface. Okay, so we also talked a lot about um, other tools that you can use for footprinting or scanning, and and the others. And to conclude, again, whatever you doing when you're penetrating a target, you have to be able to go through those 5 steps, and in the end, do not forget to cover your tracks if you are a black hat. But what differentiates a black hat from a white hat is, again, the fact that the white hat, they obtain written consent from the targets, and they identify and troubleshoot. They find out vulnerabilities and present these to the targets, and not exploit them, opposed to what the black hats do. So this concludes the presentation for this project, and if I can actually go to the last slide, which is a thank you. I appreciate your time and hope we can um, um, do lots of short videos and go more into details regarding this topic. Thank you very much.